Thanks again to Alex for this second challenge. So we're looking again at loyalty points, but the data's in a slightly different structure than last week. So this time we have this loyalty points data set, and you may notice that I've already removed the record ID and the write record ID in the input step, since we don't need these for the challenge. So the sooner we can get them out of the consideration, the better. So we will definitely want to clean up this loyalty points field. We want to make our date time a date, so let's start there. So at the moment it's reading in as a string, but it's reading in as a very kind of similar structure in each row. It's always the day dash shortened month name dash year. So Tableau Prep's pretty good at recognizing that. If I just change the data type to a date, then I'm all good. And that's exactly what we've done here, as well as renaming that field. So that's the date sorted, nice and simply. Next up, we've got the loyalty points, so we can see the numeric value for the loyalty points there, and we just want to extract that numeric value. So if we go ahead and use our split values option, Tableau Prep's pretty clever. It can recognize what's different about each of those values, and since it's in a very similar structure of that / underscore space numeric value space / loyalty score, then yeah, it's just going to automatically pull out the value that we want. So if we do that, then we can take a look at the calculation that was underneath. 3 different splits to get us to that stage, and this is what we're left with. So we just want to make sure that we change this to be a numeric value and rename it basically, and we're done, which is wonderful. And now we're on to thinking about how can we bring in our customer details and join this up to the data that we have here. The only thing that's kind of pointing to a customer at the moment in this data set is our email address. So let's just take a look at the other data set, which is our customer details. We have first names and last names here. As part of our emails, we have the first name dot the first initial of the last name. So we want to basically pass out those 2 pieces of information into 2 separate fields. So again, we're going to use that split functionality, and you can play around the automatic split. You can think about using custom split so that you split based on the @ symbol first, for example, and just keep whatever comes before that, and then after you've split that off, you might want to split off based on the full stop and split all the fields. That will help you get to this stage. And then just a little bit of renaming so that we can keep things consistent. And then if we come back to our customer data set, then what we'll need to do is we'll need to, from our last name, just get the first letter, the initial of that last name. So we can do a calculation here that is just the left of this last name field, and that calculation I've already done here. There's no point doing it twice. So starting from that left hand side and just taking the first letter. So that's giving us our last name initial, and then we just want to make this lowercase before the join, so that it can join on to the emails where the initial is, because those are lowercase there. So cool. So now we'll do that join, choosing to join both on the first name and the last name initial, and making sure that we have 999 rows coming through. Is this going to be future-proof and efficient going forwards? Well, no. We can consider, for example, Alex, who made the challenge. Her name's Alex Skelly, but if there was an Alex Smith in this data set, then that would also join, because it's the same first letter of that last name. So we'd want to come up with some kind of customer ID to help this customer going forwards, to keep everyone unique and identifiable. But for this challenge, this way works. So cool. So we can remove quite a few of those fields now. We can remove the duplicated fields for first name and last name. First name and last name initial. And now we're ready to think about that store ID. Anytime we have an ID, we probably want to replace it with the store name to make it easier to work with as a data set, rather than remembering what store ID number 1 refers to. So let's just take a look at that store data. It's looking nice and clean. Brilliant. We'll go ahead and join it on. Based on that store ID, we see we've still got those 999 rows. Everything looks like it's joined on well. So brilliant. We'll just remove the store ID fields from our data. And now we're ready to start. Now that we've kind of got all of our data together, we can start identifying those top 5 customers. But not before coming to the postcode field and making sure that we exclude those null postcodes, simply because we can't send customer their gift if we don't know where they live. So we'll filter those out, leaving us with 512 rows, and then we'll go ahead and rank our customers for each of those stores. So we'll come to our loyalty points field, go down to create calculated field and choose rank from that menu there. And this by default sorts the data in descending order, so the customers with the most loyalty points will have a ranking of number 1, which is exactly what we want. And then we'll change it to be for each store rather than going across the whole table. And you can see that, for example, for Birmingham store, there are 2 customers who have 9.8 loyalty points, and then the next ranking goes to 9.6. We're going to change this to be a dense rank instead, so that that number goes to 2 instead, so that our top 5, even though there are 2 customers joint in number 1, we will still include even this customer who ranks in the 5th place for that store. So we just rename this field to be rank, and that would all be good. I've already done that in the next step, so I'll just get rid of that for the sake of confusion, but it's exactly the same field here. Lovely. And then all that's left to do is filter this rank field to be only the top 5. So the way I chose to do that was just with filter values at the top here and doing rank is less than or equal to 5. And that leaves us with 65 rows, and our data is all good to be output now. So hopefully you enjoyed that challenge. Thanks again to Alex for making it, and see you on the next one.